If you're expecting the PS5 to run every single game at 60 FPS and 4K, well, I'm sorry, but that's just not a reality, and we've got some news to talk about regarding the frame rate and performance of the PS5. Spider-Man Miles Morales running on the PS5 at 30 FPS and 4K. Let me know what you guys think about that. But g'day guys, my name's Champ, and I was going to do 2 videos today, a double upload. There's quite a lot of stuff I want to talk about, but I've actually been in quite a lot of pain today. It's not going well. So anyway, if you guys do end up enjoying this one, please smack the like button real good. That's the best one I can do. But we're talking about the PlayStation 5. So it turns out that the PS5 is going to be running quite a lot of games at just 30 FPS. Now, you're hearing this and probably thinking, oh, this is kind of disappointing. I was expecting next gen to be minimum of 60 FPS because, well, Microsoft are doing that. They've stated that they're capping things at 60 FPS, so that's what they're going to deliver with the Xbox Series X. The standard won't be that 60 FPS, at least for 4K games in that sort of launch period in the first year of the console coming out. We're not sure what will happen down the line, if 60 FPS will become the minimum that we will see, the standard, but it's just for the first year at least, we won't be seeing all games at 60 FPS, and that's kind of disappointing, but there's reasoning behind all this. So Digital Foundry have done a full analysis. You guys can check out the video. I will link it in the description down below. They went in, revamped the original Spider-Man game on the PS4 to 60 FPS from 30 FPS. Yes, that game was in 30 frames per second, but I will link that video in the description and everything. But after an analysis looking at Spider-Man Miles Morales and even Ratchet and Clank from the PlayStation 5 reveal event a few weeks ago, now probably close to a month ago, it has been found out that game will also be running at 30 FPS. Now, in the stream, it was just 1080p, 30 FPS, but then later on, Sony brought out videos and trailers and gameplay and all that stuff, and it shows off that the game is running at 60 FPS. And usually when Sony actually reveal a trailer or even gameplay, that's what the final product will end up being in that resolution and frame rate. So we can take that on board. Now, obviously this isn't final, but that is pretty much what we are going to get. Just looking at the history of things with previous trailers and gameplay that Sony have released, that's just how it is. Now, what's really interesting here is that during that reveal event, Sony showed off a ton of games, and some of those games were running at 60 FPS in different resolutions, and some games were running at 30 FPS in different resolutions. But Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man were 2 games that everyone was hyped for, but those games are going to be running at 30 frames per second. And I didn't necessarily notice it personally with Spider-Man at first, but with Ratchet and Clank, when it was shown off, I noticed something was a little off, and it seemed a bit weird. The game still looks incredible. I'm still going to play it, and I'm still excited for this game. But yeah, 30 FPS on next gen kind of does seem a little bit disappointing. Now, something I want to re-clarify again is that this will not be... This hurts so bad. I talk with my hands, but something I want to re-clarify is that this won't be forever. It's just going to be one of those things where PlayStation will have it during the launch cycle. Because if you take a look at the current PlayStation 4, and then you take a jump towards the PS5 and you do that with the Spider-Man games, they're still using the same engine, they're still porting it over, it is cross-generational, so that is going to have a big factor. I'm trying to talk, guys, this is painful as hell. Editing is going to be even worse. But the thing is, this is the reason for it, is because of the cross-generational period that we're in right now, it is going to be a lot tougher to do that and using an old engine, and then they could go in and do it like an actual upscale of frame rate, and that could be a possibility, but that probably won't happen. It's probably going to still be in 30 FPS, which is sort of sad, but I don't really mind too much. Now, the reason it's not in 4K 60 FPS, that would be a dream for a game like Spider-Man, is when you 4K HDR, which I'm kind of like, okay, sure, but I wouldn't mind 1440p and 60 FPS, because when you're playing at home, you're not necessarily going to notice that 1440p to the 4K, like it's just not going to be there. Or they can maybe even do a 16 or 1700p, probably 1600p, and then upscale that to 4K, and then have everything still in the game, but then also have 60 FPS. That would be really awesome. And also, like I did mention earlier in the video, Microsoft have stated that they are going for that 60 FPS minimum on the Xbox Series X, and I think that's just awesome right there from Microsoft. And also, if you don't already know, and I think I've mentioned it in a video, is that Dirt 5 is going to be at 120 FPS, which is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see that game, especially a racing game. You definitely need that. I think we may see that with sports games and shooters like Call of Duty or something along those lines. But speaking of frame rates and resolution, I like the idea of 1440p, maybe upscaled to 4K, but I like 1440p and 60 FPS or 120 FPS depending on the performance. And speaking of that, this is not sponsored. Not yet, guys, not yet, but I was sent this. Oh, I'm trying to hold it with this hand. Let me do it like this. There we go. You guys can see I was sent this awesome monitor, and I'm probably going to do a video on this monitor, testing out some games to see what performance is going to be like. So let me know if you guys want to see a video on that. They were awesome enough to send it, thanks to BenQ. I'm not being paid to do this. They just send it. We're like, hey champ, do you want to like test this monitor out? I'm like, sweet, yeah, I think it'll make a cool video. So let me know if you guys want to see that. But that's pretty much it for this discussion. And this news regarding the console generations having that cross-generational period where we will not see every game at 60 FPS, which is sad because we're jumping to a new generation, but at the same time, it's the reality of this situation. I'm rhyming. Anyway, I think that's it for today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.